Check out MMOGO if you're looking to buy cheap, reliable NBA Live mobile coins. Click the link in the description and use the code BOBBY for 5% off. What's up, ballers? We are back with some more NBA Live Mobile, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 crazy good cards that you probably forgot about. So either you haven't been playing the game long enough, or you have been playing the game, and just because we have better overall cards, you might have forgotten about these guys. They're actually secretly monsters in the game. So the first one of these, probably my favorite, is this Chris Bosh card. So it's from the Halloween program. A lot of people probably forgot about him, but for a long time, even though he was only an 85 overall, he was one of the best power forwards in the game. So if you take a look, he automatically gives a +3 boost to every player in your lineup for their defensive stat, which is already a super nice boost. Then you take a look at his shooting stat. He's got an 81 shooting stat, which is really solid for an 85 overall. You look at his three-pointer, he's got an 86 three-pointer. Now, I know a lot of people give me a hard time about how much I look at the three-pointer for different cards, but if we're being honest with the percentage of three-pointers that you can make, it's almost impossible to beat a lineup with 2-pointers if the other person's hitting their 3-pointers. So that's part of the reason why I make such a big deal out of the 3-point stat. If you take a look at him compared to some of the newer cards that are way better in overall, so we'll search 90 overall power forwards for the big man lineup just in general and see what that shows us. Like, for example, going against Karl Malone, maybe his defense isn't quite as good, but almost every other stat, Chris Bosh is actually better than Karl Malone, and this card's a 93 overall. Now, obviously, you got to take into account hidden stats, so Karl Malone probably has better hidden stats. He's probably a better rebounder, a lot better defender, but just that 3-point stat alone gives you a huge boost, and plus he gives that +3 to everybody else in your lineup. In my opinion, that Chris Bosh card is better than a lot of the 90 overall cards that we have. Also, Nikola Jokic, no, that card's a monster. I didn't even realize how good his stats were. But just comparing him to some other guys like Shawn Kemp, Shawn Kemp's got good shooting and defense, and he's pretty fast. But in my opinion, I would honestly take Chris Bosh over that Shawn Kemp if I was going for functionality only. Now, a lot of times I'm going for overall for my team, so I'll still take the Shawn Kemp. But if I was going gameplay alone, I would probably take that Chris Bosh. Next up, we've got a couple players from the finals program from last year. So a lot of people probably don't even remember this. It was almost a year ago now, but just about every single one of these players was absolutely monstrous in comparison to other players available at the time, and in comparison to some players available now. So probably this Kyrie Irving was one of my favorites. He's got 90 dribbling, 91 three-pointer, 84 speed, and he's only an 86 overall. Now, obviously, his defense is trash because they've got to have something to lower that overall. But for an 86 overall, this card is an absolute beast. Better than, I would say, a lot of 90 overall point guards that we have, especially some of the older legends. So we'll reset that and just see 90 overall point guards for the big man lineup and just show you guys what we've got here. So Walt Frazier, he's got a way better 3-point rating than Walt Frazier, about the same speed, maybe a little bit worse dribbling, about the same passing. In my opinion, that Kyrie Irving is way better than this Walt Frazier. I would say he's 100% better than Bob Cousy, who's got really good dribbling, speed, and passing, but has almost no good offensive stats. I would 100% take that Kyrie Irving over this Bob Cousy, mainly because even his defense is better than Bob Cousy. This guy's got I'm pointing to this screen because I have it pulled up on my phone and on my desktop. He's got a 57 defense, which is absolutely terrible. He's got terrible shooting, terrible three-pointer. I would, any day of the week, take that Kyrie Irving over this Bob Cousy. We've also got this Klay Thompson card right here. Now, not really any of his stats are good except for his 3-point rating. But like I talked about, 3-point rating is the most dominant stat in the game. If you've got a solid 3-point shooting lineup, it's pretty much unbeatable unless you're going against somebody just full of buzzer beater abilities. With a 91 3-point stat at an 85 overall, there's not a lot of shooting guards, at least in regards to shooting ability, that can beat this, what is it, Klay Thompson card. So we'll look at shooting guards for the big man lineup, 90 overall and better. Just seeing what options we have. Just starting off, like DeMar DeRozan, not a great, honestly, this card has like some decent stats, but outside of his non-offensive stats, not really that good aside from his shooting. We've also got, for example, this Dwayne Wade card. I would argue that that Klay Thompson card probably is better functionally than this Dwayne Wade card. He's like, his 3-point stat is actually worse than my 58 Joe Harris, who I have in right now. Also, his shooting stat's not really that good, which is kind of surprising for a Dwayne Wade card. He does have good speed, dribbling, and passing, but functionally, if you're just looking at a person's ability to score, that Klay Thompson card could probably beat out this Dwayne Wade card. Then next up, we've got the Off-Season Movers program. Probably one of the most underused programs just because of how expensive it was to get that Master card. It was a 90 overall Kevin Durant. There actually aren't any of him on the auction house. I'm not even sure if it was auctionable, but this 87 Kevin Durant that you needed to put in to get that 90 overall is a beast. 82 speed, 84 three-pointer, 81 dribbling, 85 passing. And for the longest time, we had almost no good small forwards in the shooting lineup outside of 92 Carmelo Anthony, who actually was not auctionable. So if you look at small forwards for the shooting lineup, this guy is a beast compared to most of them. If we take out the off-season movers filter and put in 90 overall, there aren't that many options here, and I would argue that he's probably better than a lot of them. Now, this Giannis is pretty good overall, doesn't have good speed, but all of his other stats are pretty solid. The LeBron James card also pretty solid and a surprisingly high three-pointer, but there just aren't that many options at small forward. I would say he's definitely better than this Lance Stevenson because most of his other stats are about the same. His defense and passing aren't quite as good, but his three-point stat is way better. There's just not a lot of options in this lineup, and for the longest time, this was probably one of the best options. I forgot about the fall program. Probably about the same skill level as this LeBron James, and I would say probably pretty close, even though he's only an 87 overall. And then we're going to finish it off with this monster rookie legend card. So an 87 Tony Kukoc. I can't even remember how you get these cards, but if you look at this man's stats, he is a beast. No bad stats except for his defense, and his other stats are absolutely monstrous, especially for a small forward. 89 dribbling, 89 passing are not something you usually see in a small forward, especially an 87 overall one. He's also got 86 three-pointer, 80 shooting, and 83 speed. Probably the best 87 overall card in the game. I would argue you're going to have a hard time finding an 87 overall card that can compare to this, even though right now we're probably getting more good cards than we've ever had before. If you need an 87 small forward, I would say probably take a look at him. Now, he's going to be more expensive than most of them just because of how rare he is, but this 87 Tony Kukoc is an absolute monster for his overall. Definitely, if you compare him to some of the newer small forwards, so we'll take a look at 90 overall small forwards for the two-way lineup. This used to be kind of a rare position. It's definitely become a lot more common now, but he is still a beast compared to some of these guys. 92 Scottie Pippen, got good shooting, dribbling, passing, not a great three-pointer. Detlef Schrempf. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize how good this card is. I might have to do some gameplay with him. Let's see, Paul George. That Paul George is actually a budget beast, so I'm not going to compare him to him. Rick Barry, I would say that's 87 Tony Kukoc is probably better overall than this Rick Barry. Most of his stats are better now, obviously. His hidden stats won't quite compare, but even comparing him to this Vince Carter outside of shooting, about the same for most of his stats and better in some regards. So I would say one of the better 87 overalls in the game, but that's going to be about it for this episode. So if there's any other beasts that used to be really amazing and still are amazing that maybe I forgot about or missed in the video, definitely make sure you comment those down below. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed. We're going to see if we can hit 400 likes on this video, and subscribe as well. And I will see you guys next time.